Showtime!
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
So this has been a crazy week. You see all the stuff coming out of Comdex and not Comdex. Sorry, it's yeah, I know Comdex is
dating yourself there, Craig.
I know. I used to go to Comdex, and I've been a few times, and love Vegas. Let me just put it that way. Love Vegas. CES is the Consumer Electronics Show, and it released a lot of info. You see everyone talking about it, and we're going to get into some of the things that came out from it. And one of my favorite things, John, was this Rabbit R1 AI-powered gadget. Now, I'm going to pull it up on the screen here, but this is all the rage. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this one. More excited than the Humane AI pin that released. I feel like this, obviously, it has a screen. It's AI-powered. But yeah, let's get into it. So the Rabbit R1, it's a new AI-powered gadget, but it's supposed to be able to use your apps for you. So it's a standalone device. It's got this little, I think it's 2.5-inch or 3-inch screen, touch screen, a rotating camera, and a scroll wheel. So you can interact with the device, which is really much better than Humane, Humane's a great concept, don't get me wrong. It runs on Rabbit OS. And it's based on a large action model, the LAM, that was trained by humans interacting with apps like Spotify, Uber, different things like that. So the large action model learned how to use these apps and can now apply that knowledge to any app, regardless of the platform. So it can be used to control music, order a car, buy groceries, send messages, and a whole bunch more through this single interface. And what they're saying is that the Rabbit OS is designed to be secure and private, again, but it does require users to log into their various services using its interface, because it's obviously going to be interacting with those various interfaces or those various apps for you, and it's going to need permissions. So really cool, really interesting to see. The only thing, some things to note though, is that it doesn't have a SIM card, so it can't make phone calls, but it can make video calls. So it's not a phone, but its ability, so it's primarily a voice assistant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this looks really interesting, and I love the large language model. And the really interesting stuff doesn't happen till you get way later on in the demo. Like if you can, let me just play the few seconds here of this, about 30 seconds maybe.
But everything, iOS, Android, and desktop. These applications share something in common, the interface. They all have a user interface. So at a philosophical level, if we can make an AI trigger actions on any kind of interface, just like a human would, we will solve the problem. This insight led us to create the large action model, or LAM, as we call it. It is a new foundational model that understands and executes human intentions on computers, driven by our research in neural symbolic systems.
So basically, it can do anything.
Yeah, it can, as long as you can teach it. And the price point is not bad at $200.
I went to go see if I could order one, and it's already gone. Like they're already sold out.
They sold out I think it was 10,000 or 100,000 units in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, it was 1,000 or 10,000.
In short,
the article says 1,000, but it's got the comma in the wrong spot. So I don't know if it's because is it a 10,000 or is it?
Yeah, 10,000. Yeah.
The large language model understands what you say, but the large action model gets things done.
Yeah, I think that's the key there, right?
Yeah,
you can use ChatGPT to do certain things, but give you feedback and all that stuff. This thing can do some amazing things.
Yeah.
I was blown away by this. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I honestly, if a new batch comes available, I'm going to order it because I'm really interested in some of the cool stuff that this can do. I got all sorts of questions. I see that, rules case, but let's talk about the thing I love the most was training mode.
Yeah.
And, we get to that at the end of the video, and I'm going to silence the video and play some spots that where you can show the device and stuff while we chat.
Yeah.
But this thing was amazing when it was showing him the camera with the 360 camera. He was showing him working on a spreadsheet saying, add a column to this spreadsheet with this data. And it did it and sent it to him via email.
That's crazy, right? Yeah. It's crazy. I don't really know how. There is. He did explain kind of how to use the training mode, but all you have to do is essentially say train rabbit and then demonstrate the task that you want the R1 to learn, and then the R1 will then watch what you do and learn how to perform the task, which is, it blows my mind. Like now we've got some. It's actually doing things now as opposed to giving you answers. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. I was just complaining to somebody the other day about, every time I have to do a podcast or a video or whatever, there's so many tasks around it other than just the recording.
Yeah.
You got to add the meta tags. You got to create all the graphics. You got to upload the graphics. You got to compress the graphics. You got to put the metadata on the graphics. You got to post the content on the blog. You've got to do all these things. And a lot of it is like brain numbing because it's just copy and paste. And now with something like this, I can say, okay, take all the files here, upload them, and apply the metadata like I showed you. And bam, that's being done, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. The thought of that is just amazing. So I'm going to have to look at what other large action model agents are out there that might be able to do some of this stuff for me. But yeah, I would say this is more of an on-the-go Wi-Fi powered voice assistant, virtual assistant.
Essentially. And they're like, and we're talking about all the good things. There are some limitations. So there are, from what I understand, there's from as far as complexity goes. So the training mode can only be used to teach the R1 how to perform simple tasks. It can't be used to teach kind of how to perform complex tasks that require reasoning or decision making, which makes sense, right? You're telling it to do something. You're not telling it to make a decision. You're not like, so there's a couple of things. The other thing is it can take some time to teach the R1 how to perform the new task. And again, obviously, when learning anything, it's not always going to be able to perform. It may not always be able to perform the task correctly from the start. You may need to train it multiple times, right? So, which makes sense as far as
absolutely. I've used a bunch of tools like this kind of stuff, Keyboard Maestro, and a few other tools where you're scripting things multiple times. It never works the first time. Oh, you got to do this, do that, and then you adjust for, you got to wait 5 seconds, wait 10 seconds, whatever. You got all these things you have to do. Yeah. But this just is a leap forward. Yeah, I'm sure I want whatever the R3 is going to be is probably what I really want versus what this is. But it seems to be slow. This is another interesting sample of use case out of the box by the sounds of it.
This is what I got in the fridge. Can you make me a nice dish that's low in calories?
I love this.
Yeah.
Let me see.
It just takes a little longer than I would like. I know it's got a lot of stuff processing going on there, but we're chatting. How long are we talking? He's standing there.
How about a green garden omelet?
Actually, that's not that bad.
It's a delicious.
I understand it goes on, but other things will take a while too when you're, it's not bad, but it's not, I would say, ready for prime time. You're not taking a picture and telling it and then walking around while it's figuring stuff out. You're literally holding there while you're, so.
Been working on for job questionnaire.
Oh yeah, this is the.
Can you create an additional column that matches candidates who mentioned rabbit in their questions about how they found us?
You notice he's got his camera facing the Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheet, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's processing, and it's doing a lot of work. So don't get me wrong. Yeah. But
I've processed the table and sent you an email with the results.
This is a fairly
Okay, now let's check our email.
this is a fairly intensive task. I've got this data here, add another column with this other data. So is that data already in the spreadsheet? Is the data already somewhere else? I've got to remake that sheet unless I know what that sheet is, add all the data back in based on the picture, add the new column, save the file, and send it to you. That's a lot of actions.
Yeah. It's
and then he asks for more changes. He just emails it back saying, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Update this, update that. And it goes ahead and does it, which is fantastic. So yeah, I love the concept of this. It's just amazing.
Yeah, the potential is, I see the potential for this much more than the potential for that humane AI pin.
Yeah, and they're trying to outpace it and get this out before the AI pin. He's teaching it how to create Mid-Journey, how to use Mid-Journey to create art. And right now he's teaching how to create a baby wild dog with big eyes, whatever. And that's great. So we teach them how to do that. But at some point, it'll be easy enough just to pass a variable and say, okay, now go in there and create, whatever, Rabbit R1 AI powered gadget art for this podcast.
Exactly.
And off it goes, right? Eventually you'll be able to tell it those things. And maybe it won't be able to make decisions for you, but it can insert variables and you're going to have to train it along the way. But this is a very interesting step. And I don't know how complicated the training is. He makes it look very easy, but I can't imagine it's nearly as easy as they say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's apparently it takes the time it takes to teach a new task can vary depending on the complexity of the task, obviously. So for simple tasks such as opening a specific app or sending a message, it might only take a few minutes. For more complex tasks, obviously, it's going to take longer. But what they're saying is that in general, you can expect around 5 to 10 minutes of teaching for a new task, which isn't too bad.
No, that's actually really good. A task, again, is usually a complex state of actions. It's not actually one thing.
Yeah.
Like making coffee is not one thing. You got to get up, go to the kitchen, get the coffee out, maybe grind the beans, measure it, get the filter, get the water, put in the pump. Like there's 1,000 things. And you're saying it takes 5 to 10 minutes to tell it to go make coffee. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, and it's really going to get people, if this really takes off, which I think it will, it's going to get people to really think about their day-to-day tasks and how they do things and different things like that. Cause they're going to have to break it down for this thing. Right.
Absolutely. And, I use a lot of different tools and I need to update my tools because I've updated Mac OS and a lot of my stuff are outdated now. But to help automating things like Text Expander and 1Password and a bunch of other things that help even Keyboard Maestro and Hazel, which is a Mac tool for file management stuff. When stuff's in a certain directory, it'll automatically do stuff or name stuff a certain thing and it'll do a bunch of things for you. Now, having something that you can train to do the things you want, like especially if you on a day-to-day basis, focusing on the things that take up the most of your time and say, okay, how do I streamline this? Like the creative part is here and the creative part is done. Like I create the script, I create the video, I know what's going on, but now I got to create graphics. I got to put metadata in. I got to upload. I got to compress. Those are all just stuff. You know, that takes really no thinking. It's just a repeatable thing. So I'd be able to say I'd probably be able to get it to create the graphics for me because they're pretty straightforward. Get it to at the size I want, compress them, upload them to my website and apply the metadata. I might not actually get them to be able to put it in the post, but all that stuff alone would save me, 15, 20 minutes or more per blog post, if not longer, so that's an amazing savings.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. And this is where I see, and this is where a lot of things this is where AI can just help. It's not going to take over. It's going to help with the mundane kind of tasks.
Absolutely. When you can walk around, I can take a picture of something and say, okay, write a entrepreneurial quote to go with this picture, and then send it out to all my social media platforms, tagging this person, this person, this person, and off it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that I was thinking of, like marketing professionals they can use to create, manage marketing campaigns, track results, measure ROI. Even salespeople like to track their sales pipeline, schedule appointments, send follow-up emails. You can use this to prepare reports if you're in the finance world or just whatever, anything. Like there's so many, there's an infinite number of use cases for this, which I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why this feels like a such a great, and it's in its infancy,
Yeah.
but we're getting out of, like, the one thing it did that you're talking about all the time is what you want to do is you want to be able to recognize who's in the room and let you know. He
Yeah.
did that one, hold up the camera to the poster of Rick Astley and just started playing Never Gonna Give You Up. Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say
From
Rick
Astley,
Roll.
right? Yeah. So it obviously recognized who he was. So you could probably have your own database of people that it would recognize and get it to do certain things for you. But it's a little weird having to do this and holding it up to show people.
Yeah. This would be great if it could integrate with some sort of XR glasses or augmented reality glasses or something like that you would wear that look normal but give you some info. But
yeah, and I like this over the pin we were talking about, the Humane pin. Because the big thing issue I had with the Humane pin was there's no proper interface to deal with stuff with it.
Yeah.
With this, you've got the camera, you got a push button, you've got the screen, the touch screen. It's voice control. You got the wheel, as well as you can go back to your computer and program it there.
Exactly.
So that's a lot of interface rather than just voice like the Humane pin has.
Are we bringing back the BlackBerry scroll wheel now?
Well, somebody is by the looks of it.
Yeah.
We'll see how this is going to be very interesting. I think it's jumping ahead of all the competition.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll have to see what the future holds. This article on the screen is from The Verge, by the way, just to give them credit for this. But there's articles all over the place. And as you can see here, Rabbit announced the initial, it says 1,000, but it looks like it's 10,000.
Yeah.
I'll click on the link. Hey, 10,000. It just had the comma in the wrong place. Yeah, it sells 10,000 over 2 days. That's
2 days.
Yeah, significant demand. They're going to be able to raise a crap ton of money to move forward with this now.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see real world when it comes out, like if it actually lives up to the hype. That's the thing, right?
Absolutely. This was a great demo. But how many times have we seen that the demo doesn't quite work up? Like we saw, what was that competitor to Tesla, Nikoloff? Was it
Rivian or Nikola?
Nikola. They not Rivian. Rivian's working. They had this video of their truck, and it was going, and everyone loved it. But it turns out it was going downhill, and they just did it this way, and it didn't exist, and they were raising money for this thing. And so, but you get this demo video that looks great.
Yes. Well, then you also have Google's Gemini when they faked all of their
absolutely demo. That whole demo, we talked about it. And you mentioned that it sounds like some of it might have been fake. Now, this is a demo, 2 months. They're talking about delivery in March for this product. So, the actual release, will it be better? Will it be as good? I don't know. But I am really excited. It's about the first device I'm really excited about in a long time.
Yeah, me too.
I think it can change a lot of things and get us moving in the right direction for AI. And I think this will boost productivity. This type of thing, the large action model, whether it's R1, and I'm not particular about a hardware device, because you could stick a large action model in the back end and just have a software app and interface with it on any of your devices. So, but that whole thing of being able to teach it, to do things, all of a sudden becomes a fantastic tool for solopreneurs, small business owners, anybody really. But when you're wearing so many hats and you've got 1,000 things to do, it'll be really nice to have something like this to be able to actually help you do all those things. Like there's a lot of different AI tools that do one thing, but having something that can interface and teach a device, go into Hootsuite and create my 30-day monthly social media calendar for me, and I'll just go in and approve it. You know, you got to teach it some things around that, but that's a massive amount of work that you could really get an AI to do once it understands the graphics, create the text, create the links, go in and 30 days worth of stuff. Here you go. And, you know, I don't have one social media account. I got a lot. So that becomes a work you can hand off. And you think about that for all the work people do in any sort of environment. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what comes of this. So we'll have to see. Yeah.
And if anyone gets one out there, let me know. I'd love to take a look at it, get my hands on one in a bit. If they come back on sale, make sure I'm aware, because I definitely want to jump on and potentially take advantage of something like this.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Yeah. I'd love to geek out on this.
All right. What do you got to promote, John?
Oh, nothing. Just if you need, if you want some funds, 0 interest loan to change your digital footprint online, software, hardware, reach out. See that. More than happy to help.
Yeah, you know what? I've been thinking about what I want to do, a series of videos with you on government funding, and we'll just do one topic per video. We'll do one on MyTac Q&A, one on this Q&A. I'd like to do one on CDAP, maybe get you and another expert in. I don't know. It's up to you. We'll talk about it where we can.
The three that I'm really good on now is Scale AI, which we should talk about because you can get $1 million to $3 million, and the OCI C2C, which is a really good program too. So there's a couple ones, and CDAP and MyTax for sure. Yeah, there's a few. Let's do it.
Yeah, send me the list of those like the ones you want to talk about it, and let's start booking them.
Let's do it. Love it.
And for those of you watching, you can join John and I at startupdrinksto.com. January 25th is our next one. There's one almost every month. So check that out. We're in person. It's open bar, open pitch. You get to talk to investors. You get to talk to mentors. You get to talk to all sorts of interesting people. If you want to work with me, go to startupcoach.ca, book a discovery call, and we can chat about how working with a startup coach could help your business. Check out mentoringmagic.ca. By the time this goes out, it'll be posted. February 14th, we are doing a co-founder matchup in-person event. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're looking for a co-founder or someone to help you take your startup to the next level, come out and join us then. All this and more can be found on torontostarts.com. Awesome. And we got Startup Face-Off on Monday, which is a debate. I think you're there for that.
I am. I think. I'm invited. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I can't remember. And the startup pitch battle on the following Monday. So, which is startups pitching. We've got Oot coming out to pitch and a few other startups. So the thing with startup pitch battle is the audience decides the winner. So come on out. You get to vote and choose who wins. Thanks for being part of Future Tech Podcast, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care, guys.
Wow,